in Spooky, just on the last meeting we had before we came here. We just had a little bit of a gathering. A few people had already left, and we just kind of shared some testimonies about the year and or favourite scriptures, or any scripture really, or just kind of a sharing time. And I have a very favourite scripture, so I like to talk about that one quite often, and hopefully I get a song from the Mayonnaise out of this one. So we'll just quickly turn to Genesis 50. So I just want to talk a little bit about Joseph. We all know Joseph and his story, but I guess just as an overview, he is one of my favourite people in the Bible. He kind of goes hand in hand with my favourite scripture. And so Joseph obviously was a favourite, the favourite son. I understand that. It's well, I'm the only son, so that's okay. But so he very briefly has a couple of dreams when he's younger. His father shows him a lot of love, and he has a couple of dreams that basically his brothers are going to bow down to him, and his family will bow down to him, and his brothers don't like that, and they're already kind of annoyed that his father shows him so much love, and so they decide to throw him in a pit. Just, that's quite nice. And so they throw him in a pit, and then decide. Well, there's a couple of them that decide that that's probably not a nice thing to do, so they sell him to some people passing by, some traders, and yeah, so he was sold from the traders onto Potiphar, good old Potiphar, and due to Joseph's, I guess, integrity, as we heard, he was appointed head of Potiphar's estate, so he became quite powerful in his house. So it's kind of one of those that's good, no that's bad situations, and then no that's bad, or that's good. It kind of gets a little bit messy, and then obviously Potiphar's wife messes that up quite a little bit with what she did, and yeah, I think she thought she was on some kind of reality show, and Joseph didn't want to have a bar of it, so he ends up being put in jail. Potiphar chucks him in jail, and yeah, he again becomes quite high up in jail, which is quite strange. So he becomes right-hand man to the warden, and during that time there's some more dreams that happen, and this is dreams of the baker and the cupbearer. So he interprets their dreams correctly, and what that does is the couple of years later, so he's in jail, but he's kind of got a cruisy time. I don't know if that's true, but so the Pharaoh then has a couple of dreams. The cupbearer remembers Joseph, and so he basically says to the Pharaoh, "There's a guy that I know interprets dreams," and he gets it right. And so the Pharaoh calls on Joseph, and basically from there he interprets the dreams of Pharaoh and becomes, with a little bit in between, becomes the second most important person in Egypt to the Pharaoh. So from being thrown in a pit to being sold, etc., he ends up being this man of great power in Egypt. And I guess the thought is, none of these things can happen without the other things happening. So Joseph had to go, he had to be sold as a slave into Egypt for the end result. And so just in Genesis 50, so previous chapter, I believe, Jacob had just been, he had just given all his sons a talking to, so he's very old, and he spoke to all his sons and explained, I guess, their future, and he then passed away. Jacob passed away, and Joseph buried him, and now his brothers, who we all know were the ones that put him in the pit and then sold him, they were a little bit nervous about how Joseph was going to react. So he had a lot of power, obviously, and his brothers, who he had made himself known to a while before, we're thinking now, I think, like our father was kind of keeping him just at bay a little bit, and we don't really know what he's going to do now because, he's lost all that time with his father and everything. So they were a little bit nervous. What's he going to do with all this power? And in Genesis 50, verse 20, he says this to his brothers, but as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now therefore fear not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly unto them. So in terms of reactions, I'd say that's going to be one of the best reactions that you can have. And I guess my very simple thought is, what is our reaction? Is that the reaction that we have when things are going wrong, when things are hard, when life isn't going how we think it should be going, or we're going through just a situation? Do we have in our mind that it is God's plan, no matter what it is, whether it's good or bad? There's an end goal for Joseph. There was an end goal that God always had a plan for Joseph to basically save a whole lot of people, but he had to go through the bad things that he went through. So we'll just do the Romans 8, obviously. I mean, this is almost identical to what Joseph said. Let's read out the Amplified because I just enjoy doing that, adding more words. Romans 8:28 from the Amplified. There's a couple of key things in the Amplified. And we know with great confidence, that's a key one, that's not. So we have a great confidence that God, who is deeply concerned about us, causes all things to work together as a plan for good, for those who love God, to those who are called according to his plan and purpose. So I guess we were talking about it, and it's that understanding that it's all things. The key is we have a great confidence, and that it is all things. It's not all the good things work together for good, because that's quite obvious. It is good things working for good. But it's the not so easy things, it's the hard situations, the ones where we just do not understand what's happening. There is a plan that we don't understand. Joseph wouldn't have known what he had in store when he was being sold into slavery, when he was in a pit. He didn't know, but God did. He had a plan. So we have to have that same lack of understanding, but huge amount of faith that there is a plan there. And just a quick quote that I randomly read a little while back, just to finish off. Life's road has potholes and obstacles, but God, not coincidence, it's God, builds a bridge over the potholes using the very obstacles that once blocked our way. If and only if we trust and obey Him. And all people say, Amen.